DevOps tools, for testing tools. And we've now partnered with our fantastic colleagues from ML Software. If anybody doesn't know ML Software, it's the market leader for UI and UX, user experience modernization. And it's a perfect fit for ARCAD's solutions. We're now distributing that worldwide, so we're very excited about that. Generally, the reason why ML is number one, particularly in Germany and across Europe, is they've been doing this a long time. They have over 100 implementations across Europe. Take your time, no problem, yes. But we have over 100 implementations, and they've built up an awful lot of best practices. So a lot of clients will have a specific way of building 5250 interfaces. These guys have seen it and done all of these different tweaks and weird ways of programming, and they've built their software accordingly. So it's very proven in the market. Our vision together, we're going to enable our customers to drive their digital IT transformation. ARCAD, if anybody doesn't know, we have 350 customers and we have 24/7 support that follows the sun. Just a very short overview of the things that ARCAD does. So we're very much focusing here down on the UI modernization, but we're very good with sign-on conversion. We've written a sausage factory which takes the sign-on and turns it into nice RPG code, database, and obviously the general RPG. And we have our DevOps tooling, so the direction we're going there is using things like Git and GitHub, any cloud-based platform to do branching of the RPG code, and we're very strong in the testing area. But this is not the focus of today's. We also do a GDPR DB2 test data masking solution, so anonymization for GDPR. Generally about the case for modernization, this is what Gartner, this is brand new, 21st of March, so it's worth everybody reading it if your managers are interested in why you're looking at modernization. And it goes through all of the risks of moving off the IBM platform. And particularly in Germany, there's been some horror stories of failed projects. It's a standard risk people take by moving off. And these are the other motivations to modernize. So trying to reduce your software costs, keep the compliance, people costs, have your developers your users more efficiently using. The full suite of ARCAD products we're able to take you from this 5250 and batch process, internal logic type development. We use all of these capabilities you're seeing here. We're focusing in here on the user interface to move you into that new modular ILE architecture, and Torsten's going to be doing a demo of exactly how that works with the new ILE architecture. We have a particular service as a group together. This is the process we go through to do a full modernization. So first of all, analysis and audit of your code. Then we get the DevOps tools ready to perform your actual conversion, and then we transform your application. This isn't actually required for the user interface solutions you're about to see. You don't need to go under the bonnet of the code. We can do all this without changing any of your code, which is very exciting. And then just a quick overview of what's DevOps in the context of modernizing your user interface. It's all about being able to go in a flow very quickly and deliver discrete pieces of functionality to your users, end users very quickly. And this is quite interesting because typically the IBMI suffers from the fact that you have very irregular releases normally. You have point releases, but your big releases are every month, every 6 months. So the business tends to pack lots of functionality in there. The whole point of DevOps is you delivered small amounts of value very, very quickly, and that's much more valuable to your business. Of course, modernization of the UI is the most important thing as part of that DevOps cycle, because we can deliver that massive value so quickly. And again, we're able to, this is a process we normally go through to get you from the old world to the new world, with a wrapper of DevOps tools to prepare you for a modernization of your processes in the future. If anybody's interested in the other things ARCAD do, we did some webinar series sponsored by Common where we went through the database, the business logic. Again, we're focusing now on the user interface, which is the most exciting. And I'll just explain, a lot of clients are interested in the return on investment with UI, UX modernization, why are you bothering to do it? So we can produce for you a return on investment analysis. We just need you to send us the number of screens that you have, the number of users, and small information about the technology, and we can produce a return on investment bespoke for you. But these are the kind of areas that we can help you justify to your management, so tangible metrics. They're just the cost of your developers hand modernising one by one. We're going to show you an automated way of doing this for literally thousands of screens, it doesn't matter. The cost of obviously ripping out the eye and putting in a new ERP, these are massive figures. A lot of our competitors use pure browser-based modernisation. We have a way of eliminating a lot of that cost and risk, because obviously each and every time the browser, Firefox, Chrome, etc. comes out with an IE, comes out with a new version, you go through this retest cycle and we're able to eliminate a lot of that cost. Same with the browser versus the rich client retesting. A lot of, if you do this manually, you have obviously then two code bases to manage and maintain, and we eliminate that problem completely. Your 5250 code remains completely intact, it doesn't get changed by the work we do on the modernisation. And of course things like hardware costs, because we're able to deliver this through either a browser or a thick client. You can throw the web servers which distribute the application and the functionality into the cloud, which is a good preparation for further cost saving. And then this is quite an interesting one there. Whilst you're modernising, we have a graphical user interface which Torsten's going to show you. We can literally eliminate a lot of the errors that developers make whilst they do the modernisation. And then in terms of, these are the intangible benefits, so things that it's very, very difficult to put a value on, but it's definitely part of your return on investment. So you get 4 capabilities with the same modifications, that's rich client, browser, tablet, mobile. And you build your modernised screens in a very standardised process. The developer gets instant feedback, so he's much more efficient in the way that he produces. Things like when you have data entry, if users do not use modernised GUIs, they'll tend to make more mistakes in putting data into your system. So instead of, they might put the wrong data in, I mean that's impossible. Sorry about that, I don't know why that my watch has just started. Yeah, so that you'll get less errors into your production data, and then this time to value, because you're able to do this automatically with less effort, you can free up your developers' time to focus on really those functionality driving areas. Just go through. I think it's important just to touch on why it's important to modernise. So it's all about how the people interact with your system, and delighting them with new user interface is going to be extremely valuable to them. Make sure they get straight to the point and are more efficient in the way that you use it. And also taking the base data that was in your 5250 screen and enhancing it with simple ways of just bringing other data into, instead of you tabbing down and scrolling down to see a big report, we can actually produce very complex SQL statements automatically, which then go and take much more valuable information and bring that into the screen. These are our recommendation of things that you should consider when you're doing the modernisation. I won't go through them all in massive detail, but it's all about keeping everything simple and having defaults much more well managed. So if you're a company based in Germany, you obviously want the default value to be Germany for the country field, and all of that is really easily configurable with your UI. So were there any questions about that before we move to the demo? Fantastic. Are you ready to go? Yep. I guess I'll just touch on what you're going to show, which is going to be different from today.
No, it's not that different.
Okay. I can just give you, we're going to be talking about specifically about ILE now, and how we actually perform ILE. This is what Torsten's now going to go through with you. So we're going to create some screens in literally seconds. You're not going to believe how fast it is. Not change your code. And then Torsten's going to use advanced on the fly, which is our artificial intelligence, to understand exactly how the screen was built, and then produce the new models much more quickly. Then we're going to go into a bit more advanced using our iDesigner tool and show you how easy it is to make really complicated screens. And then we'll be talking specifically about how we produce SQL into the database, but it is going to be very focused on ILE and the new modern techniques.
Just a second.
Is anybody undertaking a modernisation project at the moment, or are you all just generally interested? No? Is anybody using the new ILE technique? Okay.
We did not check the resolution of the beamer. So now we yes.
Maybe the keyboard.
Yeah, maybe the keyboard is. No. There's something pressed on the keyboard.
Oh, I see.
Maybe that's the problem. Okay, much better now. Okay, sorry for this short delay. So maybe ask yourself what has this to do with ILE RPG, why we are going to talk about ILE RPG. In modernization projects, you usually have to use at least one second language to do things. So in iNow UI, you don't need. And this is what I'm going to show you now. So the first thing is, have you seen another presentation in the last few days from us? Or everything is brand new for you? You haven't seen something before? So what you see here, just a short introduction, what you see here is advanced on the fly. So that means we have a model and automatically we are going to build on the fly an advanced UI without any extra effort. So if we finish a definition, how we want to publish the menu, it works everywhere, even in operating system. The same we are going to do for detail forms and also, of course, for our subfile modernization. So this is the subfile thereafter, and this is the subfile before. So to aim this, you can use several approaches. So one approach is you learn a second language, or you have somebody in your team who wants to learn a second language, or somebody comes from outside into your team, and knowing another language like Java, JavaScript, C#, something like this, any PC object-oriented language. So in that case, you are just going to use our IDE, and in that IDE you are able to use the visual designer. I'm going to show you in a few seconds. And you have the source code editor, and you are able to do some source code edits. We can have a look maybe at this. So on one hand, you have the visual designer of the subfile program you have already seen, and here you are able to do your own stuff in C#. But in many cases, there is nobody in the team who is able to use the C# capabilities. And you do not like to hire somebody extra for that stuff. But everybody is able to use ILE language like RPG, Cobol, etc., etc. So this is the reason why we created ILE API. So that means when people talk about languages, they are merging language and framework. So, but language and framework is always separated. So RPG is a language, Cobol is a language. Maybe the access to the database, IO or SQL based, this is actually the framework of the IBM I to access database tables. So another framework is to access the 50-to-50 data stream via the 50-to-50 data controller. So the language itself is very good. We don't need something more. We do have fields, we do have procedures, we can call them, we have calculations, we have access to database, etc., etc. The problem is the framework for UI is too weak for today's demands. So if we can make it to replace the UI framework, and there is no argument against using RPG in future. So I'm going to show you something. Here we have a very boring small screen program, and here in our editor we do have the source. Program's name is cast RPG. So this is a usual columnar RPG program, and we enhance the program just by using this API, this service program. This is API, and this enables us to use another huge and very powerful framework. We do not touch the operations against the database. Everything is fine. We leave it as is. But if we take that screen and grab the screen and change the design, so let me do this very fast. I like to have the advanced on-the-fly design. So we're going to apply, and immediately we see the result. Now we are able to use the advanced on-the-fly design rules, plus we can access the controls here in our visual designer and enhancing and improving the application. I just put this to the garbage, we don't like to see it anymore. But we want to move those fields to here to get some more space. So now we want to add new functionality. The first thing is we need a control. The easiest one is probably a label. The name of the label is label 1. So to change the text property of the label, we can do it over here statically. We change the text property I do a filter, yeah, the text property to something else, not the label, please. Label something. This is a static change. To do a dynamic change, we are able to use, on one hand, our C# capability. So label 1 dot. See, this is a code completion and permanent running compiler. As long as the code is not correct, we got the message immediately. And you see the position of the arrow is underlined. And if we do it like this, A, B, C, semicolon, great. Now source code is correct. We are able to use the source code, and we go over here. There, hopefully the label appears, and it's the text property is set to ABC. So of course we need to change the text property of the label dynamically. And we don't like to use C#. So that's why we go back to here and comment it out. So, but remember, label1.text equals something. If we could do this in RPG as well, that would be great. And of course, apply. So, if we go to our program, I already prepared. This is usual RPG. It works with freeform RPG as well as RPG in columns, but I prefer freeform RPG. So what we do, you remember, label1.text equals something. And label1.forecolor should be red, and label1.left, so we change the position of the label, should be 20. All the properties, and by the way, much more than visible in the inside the property editor. All these properties you can change dynamically by using RPG. So you just need to compile your RPG program now. Save, compile. Hopefully I grabbed the right one. And if I move forward, you see what happens. This is completely controlled by RPG. So why is that important as well? If you do modernizing of a screen, usually you just have the information on the screen to do something more. But behind an RPG or Cobol program, you have hundreds of variables or fields with information useful for the modernization process. So I give you another sample. We like to publish. Oh, I lost my connection. The Wi-Fi of the hotel is a joke. Yes. Yes, please. Thank you. Come on. Okay, we are back. So we have a lot of information inside our RPG or Cobol program. We like to use it to publish related PDF. So the first thing we have to do is we need a PDF viewer. We have a lot of very, very powerful controls. And one of them is the PDF viewer. But, of course, we have to tell the PDF viewer where to find the related document. And we do this in RPG as well. Over here. Save. Compile. So we have to leave the RPG program once and restart, of course. If we move forward now, you see the related PDF is loaded. So, how many time? 1 hour?
Yeah.
So, another little sample how to enhance the application. We move this up. We are using a data grid. To publish data in a data grid, you just need to set an SQL just to the data grid. Apply. And we find that sample here. If you'd like to see some statistic data, and we said just iNow flex data grid dot load from, select from statistic, etc. etc. So save and compile. And then we move forward, you see what happens. We see always the correct statistic data. And everything is done in pure RPG. So, one mission of a modernization is to add more information to the user interface. And at the moment, we are limited by the resolution of the screen. We have 132 or 80, but now we have much more space. We can use tab controls, split boxes, stuff like this. But how to send the information of more fields to the user interface? We're going to do this with RPG as well. We just need another system. And that system we are using is not RPG OA, because RPG OA is not, from my perspective, powerful enough to solve that challenge, to make that challenge. So in that case, we like to send two more fields. And the first thing is we declare a data structure with new field 1, new field 2, it's character 40 and character 30. And we have to declare a table. iNow declare table is the equivalent of subfile, but it's much more powerful. On our YouTube channel, you will find a video. We are going to do this with 374 fields. Yes, fields. 374. So it's impossible with any other technology to do that in UI modernization. So we declare the table and we call it X table. And new field 1, new field 2, it's a character of 40 and 30. And then we are going to set the content of the fields, trim of the name and something, and call by and the telephone number of the record we read. So, how to access that temporary table, like a subfile? We just need to draw a flex table. Flex table does have a wizard. And here we can choose SQL access to our database, SQL access to another database, like a SQL Server or Oracle, or web service from outside. So flex table enables us to access data from anywhere. And of course, from our ILE API. So here we have a list of active ILE API tables. So if we access the X table, you see this is the content of the X table. In that case, we have only one record inside the table. You can send as much records as you like. You will see in another sample in a few minutes. So now we are connected to the flex table. And we find the flex table in our data sources plus the fields. And we just, I think I need some more. Okay, let me do this. To tab. So we're going to create a tab control. And on the second tab, we drop the new fields. Doc. Yeah. Okay. Apply. And we can check immediately what happens. You see now we have the tab control. And here we have the additional fields. As much as you like. So we are not limited anymore.
Are those only output fields, or can I also
Input as well.
input?
Yeah, input as well, of course. So this is solving a huge problem. Not enough space for important information. So this is solved by using ILE API. You have control of the UI itself. You can change the property of every existing control on your UI. You can publish more data to the UI. But I have some more samples. In many companies, people like to use Excel. And how to publish data to an Excel sheet by using RPG. So this is a complicated workflow of writing something in integrated file server and vice versa to read information from Excel into a RPG variable. So this is a horror trip. So how we are going to do this? I prepared a little sample called Excel. And here you see in that short sample the idea of ILE API. If you use ILE API, you're actually independent. When you create a new program, independent from any DDS display file. You don't need that anymore. The substitution of execute format is iNow run screen. And iNow run screen does have 3 parameters. This is a screen ID, should be unique in your system, then a text, whatever you like, and the F keys. So if you run this program will start from here and waiting here for your interaction, and thereafter you can check when command is the result of the procedure. When command equals F3, then last record on return, of course. When command is F5, we are running through a loop. And we are writing data into a spreadsheet. So one data is just the loop plus 240 or whatever, wherever the data come from. The name of the cell is C plus loop, C1, 2, 3, etc. And in C6, we are going to write formula. And thereafter, we do read the result of the formula in C6 to a variable called val. And then we display that val in a message box. So, this is the program, and now we need the UI. And for UI, we do not use the SDA or something else anymore. We just use our visual designer. So the name of the program is Excel. So if we call Excel, so there is something very boring. Click on Design, Designer. So that's all. You remember? This is the screen ID. This is any text, and these are the F keys. So we need to modify that design. The first thing is we like to change the F keys to toolbar buttons, items to F keys. So now we have all the F keys over here, accessible by a toolbar button. Don't worry, functionality of pressing F15 on your keyboard, it's still working. This is the first thing I learned when I started UI modernization more than 20 years ago. Do not take away the keyboard from an AS400 user or ILE user. So the next thing we need, have a look over here, is the control XLS1, having the name XLS1, and that should be a spreadsheet. So, do we have a spreadsheet? Okay, I'm a lucky guy today. I do have a spreadsheet. I have a spreadsheet to fill, to use always the space I have, no matter how big or small is the screen, or how big or small is the current window. And we change the name. Remember XLS1. And we are going to apply. So immediately we get a new screen with an Excel sheet. So this is a complete Excel sheet. You can do, of course, your own thing inside this by typing something in cells. But if we press F5, you remember our RPG program starts running, writing data to the Excel sheet, writing a formula, and read the result of the formula and publish to message box. So let's give it a try, pressing refresh, and see if it works. So you are able to write a program like this in just a few minutes. And from RPG, you call that spreadsheet control to load a prepared Excel sheet, read data from the Excel sheet, or write data into Excel sheet and read the results from the Excel sheet into your RPG. Or maybe you're going to get data from somebody and you like to import data from Excel to your database. Just use this. Just load the data in Excel format. Read the content of the cells and write to your database. So this is one sample. You can do this with, as you have seen, with data grade PDF, etc., etc. You don't need to think about 50 to 50 display files and indicators and stuff like this anymore. You have a visual designer, one of the most modern visual designer on the market, and you have it under control, if you like, in RPG, Cobol, etc., etc., or C#. Why is that so important? More and more, we do not have teams of RPG only or Cobol only programs. There are young people are coming from the colleges, and they do not learn RPG. They come with the knowledge to work with this kind of designers and controls. But it's important to collaborate with them. And if you are outside to have a cigarette with that guy, now we have the same dictionary to talk. So, do you know how I can load a spreadsheet to the spreadsheet control? Yeah, the command is just the name dot load from file and then give the path to the document. Okay, I'm fine. What is your language? I'm an RPG programmer. Oh, I'm a C# programmer. But same dictionary, same framework. So now they can collaborate. So this is a very important thing, very useful to add value to the system and finally to the company as well. So now we don't like not just control Excel sheets or add some data. We like to create a new application in RPG just by using the visual designer. So I can show you some samples, but I have something much better, and this is the iNow Code Factory. Code Factory is a little open source application. You can change it, you can look inside and learn from it to do your own things as you prefer. Here we have the library, MLDemo. We do select the cast physical file, and this is a template. You can do your own templates. You can do Cobol templates, C# templates, RPG templates. In that case, it's an RPG template. And this is the resulting source code. The beamer is a joke, like the Wi-Fi. So I'm sorry for that. But this is the resulting code. And if we are going to editor, any editor, I like to use the ILE editor from Liam. To demonstrate, you are free to use any editor. Of course you can use RDI. Of course you can use SAU if you like. It's a little bit difficult to copy it into, but it's possible. Maybe for the Excel program it's good enough. Just use any editor you like. We are going to create a new member, Berlin 2, RPG LE, and just copy, here we are, and just copy that source code to clipboard and paste over here. So what happens? The first thing is, as you have learned with the new field 1, new field 2, etc., we have to declare a data structure. So in that data structure, we do have all the fields we like. And we can add some more. Some more fields are not inside the physical file itself. Then we need to declare the target table. So the target table does have target field types, like date, time, boolean, whatever we like to use from the target system. So then we are running the first procedure, select record. And you recognize iNow run screen, cast subfile form, something, and F keys. So if we run this, the first is we are writing the cast table to iNow, and you see this is RPG. As usual, we clear the table, we clear the target table, so that now we have an empty table. We open our physical file, we read the first record, then we open the target table, and we just run until EOF and write record to target table. That's it. You can do your own things. You can use filter by using scan procedure of RPG, whatever you like, whatever you want. So, so the data are just sent, and then we get an empty screen. So first we need to save and compile successfully. Great. think I forgot to delete the new screens from my last demo. Yes. So I'm going to delete now. See, this is the screen code factory. This is the Excel sample form. This is the UI repository. Just put it somewhere on integrated file server or Windows server. It's just a directory. But all information about modernization are inside this directory. You can control it with Git if you like. It's recommended to control it with Git, for example. So, and now I reload the screen identifiers and hopefully they are blown away. Call Berlin 2. So, as I told you, we get this very, very boring screen. We click on Design, Modify Design. Oh, reload. Nope. So now we do have the cast subfile form. You see, it's nothing on the screen. First, we change again the F keys to a toolbar. And now we need to access the data, as you have seen before, by using the flex table wizard, ILE API cast table. Here we are. This is the table. Like filling a subfile, we fill that internal table, and we are going to use it. So how to publish? Very easy. Again, the data source, and we can grab any field, but we can grab the entire table. Just drop it. Doc fill and apply. Waiting 1-2 seconds. Here we are. Data fully controlled by RPG, a usual RPG program. UI full under control of our visual designer and the UI capabilities. So now we're going to select that record, press enter. We come to the next screen. So the next screen, going to design, you see cast detail form, screen identifier, detail information of record 6 and F keys. So this is controlled by RPG in this iNow run screen. Cast detail form, detail information of record rec ID and the F keys. So now we are here in the program. And we modify design. Items to F keys. This, we don't need it. Just put it to the garbage. Again, flex table. Again, connect to cast table, but now there's only one record inside. So sometimes we have a lot of records for selecting a record, and now we have the one record we selected. But it's the same table. We can use another one if you like, but we don't have to. So, and now we like to have the detail fields. Just drag and drop. Press apply. So, what happens? Program is waiting. And what happens if we press enter? We read the record into the RPG variables and open or pop up a message box, update not implemented. So here you have to do your own stuff to save the information. F5 is, I don't remember, I think it's refresh. It's refresh. So F6 is just read the record again. Page up means read prior. And page down, we like to see the next one. And 11, you can do something, you see, change things of the control. This is just for example. And F12 is leaving, and anything else, command not implemented. This is controlled by the template we used. So you can do your own templates and do your own things with this. So, custom detailed form. Apply, please. I made a mistake. So, in these few steps, forward, backward, we created an RPG program, very modern UI for this, and everything works immediately. We turn, select another one, maybe 16, press enter, and you have 16. So, these are the capabilities you are able to use with ILE API. There are much more you can use. I give you another little sample on the cust RPG. Very often you have the problem, you have maybe a subfile screen, and you have more options for the subfile than space to publish. So you have to press F23 to see more. Same with the F keys. You have to press always F24 to see some more. And another point is, usually you need to work with abbreviations. So very short descriptions of the F key or option. You don't need that anymore. If you use this command, iNow init session setting, and the name is F keys, you can send everything you like. So you don't need the F keys. You override the F keys on your screen with a long description for options and F keys as well. So this is another sample how useful the idea of ILE API is and improves your daily work. So thank you for your attention. I'm on time. Exactly. But if you have any questions, of course, I'll be good. Ready?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If you need some more information, please talk to Nick. He is in charge for taking care of our prospecting. Okay. Thank you.